We're not going to waste any time. We're jumping straight into it. Y'all asked for raw, unedited NBA 2K26 gameplay, and I got exactly that here for y'all. I'm actually still in the hotel room. I was just at community day for 12 hours in the builder and getting some gameplay for y'all, and as soon as I got back to the hotel room, we're already editing and, you know, getting on the mic to talk to y'all about it. So drop a like on the video for me. I really appreciate it. Let's try to get this video to 10,000 likes, and let's talk about it. All right, I'm in the white. I'm in the white jerseys. My team's white. Swag's in a black jersey. Swag is my pro-am team, and I play park with him for the last, I don't even know, 5-6 years. You know, me and Swag go way back. So we decided to match up in the MyTeam triple threat. So it's 3-on-3. We pulled up some MyTeam cards. Luckily, I was lucky enough to pull LeBron James. So we got some LBJ gameplay here for you for my first time on 2K26. And listen, a few things to notice about this gameplay. We were not able to customize our HUD, so we weren't able to turn off our shot meters. We were not able to change our shot feedback. We were not able to customize any of that stuff, okay? So that's gonna kind of hinder the gameplay a little bit. And also, it's literally our first couple minutes playing NBA 2K26, so there's gonna be some rough moments, but y'all wanted it unedited, and I understand why, because y'all want to see the game speed, y'all want to see how it flows, y'all want to see this, that, and the third, so completely understand. All right, now I also want to mention these are, you know, the MyTeam cards for these NBA and WNBA players, so they have their own animations, and as y'all know, they're not optimized animations. Like when we make our My players, we find, you know, the best escape to go with the best crossover, to go with the best behind the back, with the best hezzy, and it all comes together, and it's able to move a lot more efficiently and quicker and just better than the NBA and WNBA players because you got optimized SIGs. So my point is, some of the bursts that you're going to see in these gameplays, it might look clunky sometimes, but you have to realize a lot of these players don't have great SIGs attached to their MyTeam cards and whatnot. Like when you'll see the gameplay tomorrow and you see the builder and people, you know, being able to test their builds, and when we tested the builds, we could customize the SIGs. You're going to see just, it's a night and day difference in terms of how people can kind of burst and speed boost and change directions and start to chain glitchy stuff together. And then of course when the full game drops and like the whole community's out there labbing, it really looks like we're gonna find some glitchy stuff, because the bigger players, like obviously last year the small players could burst, the big players on this game can definitely move. You move a lot better than 2K25, that's for damn sure. Step back with Bron pulling up. Y'all already know how we're coming with Bron on 2K26. All right, so make sure y'all tuned in tomorrow. My Bron build is dropping and I'm excited for that one. But we're hot. We're up 11-2. Swag, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm trying to blitz the ball hand, because I know Mike was talking about, you know, how they nerfed the plucks and blitz steals will be rewarded. So I'm really trying to blitz the ball hand and go for him. But I'm getting called for a foul here and there. You do see, though, I don't know if you can tell in this, in my gameplay breakdown video that I posted earlier, I kind of talked about this. When someone stands still dribbling, you can't just like push up against them and just knock. Swag's giving me too much space. Bron's knocking it down yet again. 14-2. It's an absolute flood. But what I was talking about was when someone stands still dribbling, you can't just bump them out of like their combo. But as soon as they start moving and like trying to drive or trying to run to the side, then all of a sudden the body up like perimeter defense, you see like right there, that's Caitlin Clark like pretty much stonewalling LeBron James, which I know sounds crazy, but let's ignore the physics behind it in terms of the, you know, WNBA versus NBA players. I know people are probably going to freak out about that, but they already talked about how it's literally just, you know, when it comes to my team, it's just attributes and badges and whatnot. But that's not the point of what I'm saying. The point of what I'm saying is when you're on the move, the defender gets much better bumps. When you're standing and you're trying to go, you know, tween, cross, you're doing like a size up or something. On 25, you could like run up to the guy and just bump him out of that dribble combo. It didn't seem to be the case on 26. When they're on the move and you cut them off, you do get a body up. But when they're standstill dribbling, which I guess is like real life, if someone's dribbling at the top of the key and you're a defender, you can't just run into them and just knock them backwards and knock them out of their dribble sequence, right? That would be called a foul. So I guess in that sense, it makes sense. But I'm just reporting what I felt playing the game. You know what I mean? I felt like when I was standstill dribbling, I could combo all I wanted. And then as soon as I got on the move, if they got on my hip or they cut me off to the basket, there would be some type of physical collision dunking animation, and that was something that I noticed that was different in terms of the body ups and the dribbling. But first game on 2K26, 21-7. Bron went crazy, 8 for 8, 2 for 2 from 3, so definitely happy about that. But now we're going to head over to the 2v2 courts. Me and Swag are going to team up. So let's get into the 2v2 gameplay. And this is all users. This is me and Swag versus 2 users. I'm not really sure who it is. It's just, you know, letters and numbers as gamer tags. So I'm not really sure. But all 4 people on the court being controlled by users. So as you can expect, you know, we've been playing the game for 20 minutes at this point. It is going to be a sloppy gameplay. But at least y'all will get to see some raw, unedited gameplay. And like I said, we couldn't customize our player HUD, couldn't turn off the shot meters. There's a lot of stuff that kind of made it even more challenging. But you get to see kind of a little bit more user on user action, because although last game it was me and Swag playing, there was still 4 AIs on the court. You know, it was more team control mode as opposed to single, you know, everyone controlling an individual single player on the court. So this is a nice little change of pace. Now I am curious, what are your thoughts already after watching me and Swag play that 3v3 there? Is there anything you saw that you liked, that you didn't like, that concerns you? You know, just what are your thoughts? Comment it down below. I will be reading the comments to kind of see where your guys' head is at, and then maybe even answer some of your guys' questions down there if I have time in between editing all these videos that I'm trying to get out for you guys in a timely fashion. As I said, I'm still, like I said, I'm in the hotel room. We're on the grind. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all know how I get this time of year. I do everything I can for y'all boys, and y'all always, you know, y'all always show love back. So, you know, the feeling is mutual. I appreciate y'all, and clearly, I mean, the way you guys support the videos, you guys appreciate it as well. So I love that. But let's keep it going. Wemby with the block. Now, we've already seen Wemby has the 99 block, so you would hope, right? You would hope he'd be able to get his hand on the ball here or there, and that was a nice inside block. Now, we're going to a little pick and roll here. I go up. You see, I try to go up for the dunk meter. He takes me out of the dunk meter, but it still converts to a layup, and usually it is a makeable layup. It's not like a sliver of a green window. Like, that was a pretty decent size green window on the layup. And of course, you can see the green window. We already knew this, but you can see the green window again on the dunks and the layups. So that is a beautiful thing. And thank goodness for that, you know, revision, going back to the way it used to be. But check this out. Again, it's the shot meter just messes with me, bro. I try to pull up. I'm shooting a bounce back half bar. Iverson is pulling up in the corner. He's knocking it down. Me and Swag are down 7-4. It ain't looking too good. But I'm about to turn up and take this thing over with LeBron. Now, you're about to see here in just a second. AI pulls up and he misses, and then Swag's going to hit me on the kick out. I'm going to drive in and going for a meter dunk here, and it's a good-sized green window. And, I mean, Jokic is in the paint, but it's not like a... You know, it's not like he's really like putting me into contact dunk animation or anything like that, but it just feels like a good time to kind of talk about my thoughts on the driving dunks and finishing in general from what I saw. I did talk about it in my gameplay breakdown. If y'all didn't watch that earlier, I definitely recommend y'all check that out. But finishing on this game, one thing I noticed is size really matters. And I think this was true in 2K25 as well, but you couldn't really, you know, you didn't have the visible green window to back it up. But we know on the perimeter, right? If you're a tall player, it's a lot harder for them to contest you. You know, you're shooting over those and you know, blah, blah, blah. Y'all get what I'm saying in terms of the perimeter. But in the paint, I feel like the same thing is true. In the gameplay breakdown I did a lot of testing with like Ja and Ant, you know, smaller dunkers. And then I also had Giannis, who's, you know, 6'11", a much bigger player. And it just felt like Giannis was getting more consistent good sized green windows. Now there was times where his, you know, shrunk and whatnot, but it really felt like finishing also not just depended on your attributes and badges, but the size of your player. And I feel like to an extent it makes sense, right? Like Ja Morant coming full head of steam, it's scary, but Giannis coming full head of steam is frightening. Like, that's a really difficult thing to stop. And although they're both great dunkers, great finishers, the size does matter. So I think it's not a crazy concept to have in the game, but it was definitely, in terms of what I tested in the few hours I got to play, it definitely felt noticeable that the bigger players could, you know, just kind of get a little more leeway in what they could and couldn't go up with in terms of not just the dunks, but the layups as well. The layups got contested a lot less on the taller players. Like, I remember I was testing with like Trae Young and Luka, and stuff I went up with Trae that got contested. I feel like I went up with similar stuff with Luka, but because he's, you know, 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is, it was registering open. So I feel like not just in terms of jump shooting, but also in the finishing department, the size and the height on this game definitely plays a factor. And like I said, I feel like that's how it was last year, but just couldn't really back it up with any visual proof because we didn't have the visible green windows. But check this out. We've seen a couple lobs now, and as y'all can see, not only you gotta time them, but you gotta select one of the 4 face buttons on the controller. And I ain't gonna lie, especially early on, it's gonna be an adjustment. Like, I missed my first one, and you know, I'm somebody that probably catches more lobs than the usual 2K player, just because I'm always, you know, I prefer to play on those dunking type of builds, and you know, I have fun with the lobs and the contact dunks and stuff like that. But it's definitely gonna be a little adjusting to having to click different buttons. I feel like just you have like a habit, like, you know, built into your psyche that you're just gonna automatically press the shoot button, and it ain't like that. You gotta lock in and actually click the right button. So that's gonna be a little adjustment. I think people will get used to it, but it also, I feel like, could deter people from throwing lobs in general, just because now it's like, man, there's an even more chance your teammate messes it up, especially like in the random wreck or something like that. Like, we're gonna see a lot of funny moments with those alley-oops in a random wreck. I already see it, but check it out. Even though LeBron is big and he's got decent finishing ratings and badges and all that, still get a basically no chance of greening that meter dunk right there. So it certainly isn't anything OP. And if you watched the gameplay breakdown, there's actually some stuff I'm pretty concerned about that I addressed in there. And you know, I did bring it to their attention. I think other people did as well. So hopefully they're able to sort it out by launch. But there was some stuff with the dunking that logically really didn't make sense. But again, it is the community day version of the game. It's not the final product that we're going to play at launch. So hopefully they're able to fix those small things that we noticed in terms of the dunk meter being like just randomly inconsistent for no reason. If you want to actually see that, like I said, the gameplay breakdown is the place to go check it out, and that video is going to pop up on the screen here in just a second after we finish this thing off. Wemby's ripping down the rebound. He's going to hit me, and if you wanted to see a two-hand tomahawk contact dunk to finish it off, there you go, man. Click that video on the screen right there. Like I said, that is the gameplay breakdown. Everything you need to know about NBA 2K26 gameplay is in that video. Go check it out.